These are this afternoon's top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis records growth in jobs for 2015. Economic growth for St. Lucia, and student and mother killed by Chicago police. Good afternoon and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Tuesday, 29th December 2015. I'm Cal Burge. In national news, statistics announced by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris that were reportedly received from the St. Christopher and Nevis Social Security Board indicate that the economy in St. Kitts and Nevis added more jobs in 2015 than during the same period in 2014. Dr. Harris said the average number of jobs per month in 2015 reached 24,595, while in 2014 that total was 24,546. He said hotels and restaurants created 4% more jobs, while construction was 6% higher than in 2014. Employer registration for the period January to September 2015 represented a 17% increase over 2014. Other notable numbers reflected self-employed registration, which stood at 219, employee registrations, which marked a 21% increase, and monthly wages grew by 8%. Prime Minister Harris reported that total wages pumped into the economy to date were $72.90 million per month in 2015 versus $67.78 million per month in 2014. The Hainesmith Caribbean Talented Teen Pageant is set for tonight at the Sugar Mill on Port Zante, and the hosts say they are ready to compete. Miss Teen St. Kitts Ricky Blake Brooks and Miss Teen Nevis Neela Jones were among the contestants featured in a press conference on Sunday afternoon. When asked if she feels pressured to represent St. Kitts, Brooks provided this response.
Well, I wouldn't say that there's any more pressure than any of the other contestants, because all of us are going for the same goal and we all worked hard and we are dedicated to try and capture the crown. And so, no, I wouldn't say there's any extra pressure being the host country.
A similar question was posed to Miss Teen Nevis, and Jones used the opportunity to comment on the level of support she has received so far.
From my home island, Nevis, there is a lot of support and love coming from them, and it's not so much of pressure. I feel more support than pressure, and I just think that we all came here to do the same thing, like Miss St. Kitts said, so we all expected to come home with the crown.
The Hainesmith Caribbean Talented Teen Pageant will commence at 8 p.m. and will be broadcast live on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM and streamed at www.zizonline.com. The Federation's 2015-2016 National Calypso King Oscar King Astro Brown has come in for high praise from several of his fans and other Calypso enthusiasts after capturing Monday night's crown. This morning, ZIZ radio personality GQ opened the lines to facilitate comments and words of commendation, and even hear from the new monarch who had already arrived in Nevis, where he is from. In 2014, King Astro became the first Nevisian to capture the National Carnival Senior Calypso crown, and said today that he wants to become the first person to win back-to-back Senior Calypso crowns during Culturama in Nevis.
I'm on a roll right now, and once pension keep producing, the material is producing, they're in a lot of trouble. You know, the feeling, it's a feeling that I can't even describe. You know, it was a plan, we set out to do this, and it come to fruition. I'm very, very happy. The words are evading me right now.
Last night, he sang reparations and throne speech and amassed a total of 759 points to retain his crown. He said it was a culmination of a good year for him.
I have a booking in New York for mid-month. I mean, maybe they knew something that I didn't know. So I have a booking for New York in mid-month. Then I have to redeem myself in Anguilla. But before Anguilla, I have some unfinished business to take care in Nevis. I have to repeat in Nevis. That is the plan. That nobody has ever done it in 42 years of Culturama. I plan to make that, change that early next year.
From the throne of the king, from the throne of the king, Astro, this is the throne speech in Calypso. My government.
Greetings everyone, I'm GQ from the morning show right here on ZIZ Radio Power 96.1. And right now, I'm invading your homes to tell you about the official cool down fete for Sugar Mass 44. It's scheduled to be on January 3rd of 2016. I'm going to be there. I hope to see you there, and a host of bands, food, music, and a lot of entertainment for you. Remember, it's the official Cool down fete for Sugar Mass 44. Revel like never before.
On to news on the regional scene. St. Lucia's Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony says that 2015 was a good year for the economy and he thinks that the unemployment situation will improve. Don Nicholas has more.
Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony is predicting a downward spiral in the unemployment tide. According to the Prime Minister, the construction of a new hotel on what was formerly the Smuggler's Cove in Camp Estate has seen the employment of close to 500 persons. Dr. Anthony pointed out that his government's focus for this year was on trying to restore economic growth and at the same time deal with fiscal issues. The Prime Minister prided his government as having been able to contain the deficit, and for him, that in itself is a huge plus.
From a high of 9.6% of GDP, it's now down to about 3.6, 3.7. That has to be good news because it sends out a very positive signal to our lenders and to the institutions that we have to borrow funds from to keep the economy going.
Dr. Anthony made special note of what he referred to as the return of investment to St. Lucia, with which he is well pleased. Just last month, the government launched its Citizenship by Investment program in an effort to attract more foreign investors and thus stimulate the economy. Dr. Anthony also observed that domestic sector investors are responding well.
We currently have a number of private sector investors constructing new buildings. Courts is now under construction. We have had this Diana building by Mr. Shriki at the end of Bridge Street. And then, of course, Reno Gajada is about to start construction of a mega complex in Cul-de-sac Valley. In addition to this, of course, I'm hoping that finally the administrative complex in VF4 will get on the way early in the new year. I know that a contractor has been selected. So all of that is good, positive news for the economy.
Dr. Anthony anticipates a very exciting 2016 in terms of the revival of the economy. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
In Guyana, a probe is underway to determine how a 21-year-old man who attempted to kill his girlfriend got away from the Grove police station. Here's more.
The police are investigating the escape of Lorenzo James from the Grove police station on Sunday and whether standard operating procedures were followed by ranks when the mother of James's teenage girlfriend stopped for assistance. James took his life after escaping custody, where he was being held for assaulting the teenager. Crime Chief Wendell Blanner made the disclosure this morning.
On that matter, I had a discussion with the detective divisional officer in charge of the division, and that matter is under investigation. And if there were any breaches, we'll take the appropriate action. We have to look at the investigation based on the outcome of the investigation to see whether any standard operating procedures would have been breached.
Meanwhile, the crime chief has said the police are making every effort to apprehend the suspect who shot and killed a man on a Route 32 minibus. The incident occurred at the Demerara Harbour Bridge as the minibus was heading to the city.
We have extracted an image from the CCTV cameras and we have alerted our intelligence operatives, and apart from that we have other detectives. They are making every effort to apprehend the suspect.
The crime chief, however, refused to say whether the suspect is known to the police, but said he's confident that the man will be apprehended soon. Reporting for Capital News, Ivor Wharton.
And internationally, Betty Jones, a 55-year-old grandmother, and Quintonio Legrier, a 19-year-old man, were killed in Chicago after police responded to a domestic disturbance.
This morning, the families of Betty Jones and college student Quintonio Legrier demanding justice and answers from the Chicago Police Department.
Why you got to shoot first and ask questions later?
Jones and Legrier killed Saturday after police were called to this two-story home for a domestic disturbance.
We got 2 people shot, but were the shots fired by police, just to confirm? Yes, they were.
Legrier, on the top floor, was reportedly threatening his father with a bat. Loved ones say 55-year-old Jones, who lives on the ground floor, was opening the door for police when she was caught in a spray of police bullets.
Upon their arrival, they were confronted by a combative individual.
Chicago police saying Jones was accidentally killed and extending condolences.
She should not have to come outside, open the door, and be shot down by a police officer.
LaGreer's mother says her 19-year-old son, who studied engineering, had mental health issues but dreamed of a brighter future.
He was an honor roll student. He worked hard. He cared about people.
Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been under pressure to make sweeping changes in an increasingly tense Chicago since the release of the Laquan McDonald video last month.
The first step in that journey is my step, and I'm sorry.
He is now calling for a review of how officers are trained to handle mental health cases.
And the officers involved are off the streets and on desk duty as an independent police review board investigates the shooting.
A grand jury has decided not to indict officers in the death of Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy who was holding a toy gun when he was shot by an officer in 2014. Here's more.
Prosecutors announcing a Cleveland grand jury's decision not to file charges against officers in the shooting death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice.
Given this perfect storm of human error, mistakes and miscommunications by all involved that day, the evidence did not indicate criminal conduct by police.
Tamir was fatally shot outside a recreation center in 2014 by rookie police officer Timothy Lohman.
He had reason to fear for his life.
Among the mistakes that prosecutors say led to the shooting, while the 911 caller indicated Tamir was probably a child playing with a toy, that crucial information was never given to officers. And they say at 5'7" and 170 pounds, they didn't realize he was a child. Tamir's family is reacting to the decision, saying they are saddened and disappointed, noting surveillance video shows the boy was shot in less than 1 second, accusing the prosecutor of manipulating the grand jury process. The Department of Justice has also announced that they've been monitoring the investigation and will continue with an independent review.
Taking a look at the weather, temperatures today will peak at 76 degrees Fahrenheit with a gentle breeze blowing from the east-northeast at 12 miles per hour. Today will be partly sunny with a quick passing showers, becoming partly cloudy in general tonight with periods of quick passing showers overnight. Seas are up with waves up to 8 feet. Warnings remain in effect for small craft operators and sea bathers. Sunset today will be at 5:46 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:40 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Barrage.